Hi guys, welcome back. So we are on to the backs as we choose our England squad to go to France in the World Cup. I am joined by Tim from Egg Chasers. How you doing, Tim?
Excited, mate. I'm looking forward to this. Loved picking the forwards with you, mate, and you did a great job. And I'm hoping despite not having as much expertise, hope I can do a job with the backs as well.
I'm sure you will. Now, we had great fun picking the forwards. If you haven't seen that video, I'd jump over there right now. Obviously, subscribe to Egg Chasers. Have a look at how we pick the forwards, and if you like that pack, so go over there now before I put up the forwards that we chose and spoil it all. Okay, I've assumed you've done that, so we're going to jump straight in with the backs. I think we've got 15 spots left. Is that right, Tim?
Exactly right. 18 forwards, 15 backs.
Beautiful. And also at the end of the video, I suggest go in the description below. I've got a link to a vote for all the players that we've discussed and more. And I want you guys to pick your squad and we'll have a look and see how it compares to ours, which could be pretty interesting. So do that as well. Okay. Scrum half. I tell you what, I'm going to read out a Eurovision shortlist here and we'll start from there. So scrum half, these are the guys I think are in contention. And let me know, Tim, if I've missed any. I'm going for Alex Mitchell, Jack Van Portfleet, Rafi Quirk, Harry Randall, Ben Spencer, Gus Waugh, and Ben Youngs. Is there anyone else you had in mind?
Just to mention in dispatches, I think you'd have to mention Danny Kerr. He's been great again in the Premiership. But no, I think you've nailed it. Other than that.
Okay. Do you have a first pick?
Well, yes. The first three names you mentioned are probably bubbling to the top. But Alex Mitchell, I think we share. I think we have this in common that we are pining for Alex Mitchell to be wearing the number 9, not the number 21 shirt.
Yeah, and I think the theme we had with the forwards, Tim, was that we're going to win the World Cup and we're going to take some chances rather than go safe. And actually, Alex Mitchell, absolutely, let's put him in. But I'll ask you something. Has Jack Van Portfleet, he's had lots of chances for England, has he done enough to say, I am a World Cup winning scrum half?
When you put it like that, no.
If we're starting Van Portfleet against Antoine Dupont, are you confident we have enough to win?
I wouldn't start him against Antoine Dupont.
Okay, good answer.
I would start Mitchell. I think Van Portfleet, in difficult circumstances, has actually done all right, and I do think he has elite potential, which hasn't been realised yet.
That's true. That is true.
And his box kicking, which is still a massive part of rugby. The kicking game is still absolutely essential. He's probably the best at that.
Okay, we'll come back to him. I think I'm on board with Rafi Quirk. It's a bit of a chance because he hasn't played a lot, but you need someone there who is a game-breaking sub. And I think he's probably the only one, maybe Harry Randall, or a younger Danny Kerr potentially. But I'm happy to definitely go with Rafi Quirk.
All right, so we've got Mitchell and Quirk. So
yes,
who could take the jersey off JVP for you?
Okay, I'm going to go for my pitch for you. I think probably the second best scrum half, maybe even the best scrum half, well, no, second best under Mitchell is Ben Spencer. I think he's got the kicking game now. He's very physical. Sure, he hasn't had loads of caps, but he plays like he's got loads of caps. And I would be so much more confident that he could do something that Van Portfleet couldn't. I would have Mitchell starting and Ben Spencer potentially on the bench.
That's a really interesting call. Oh, I've just suddenly had a flashback. Did Ben Spencer get flown over as the replacement 9 for the World Cup final? He did,
100% did, yeah.
So he knows what it's like to get to a World Cup final.
And I think he's better than he was then. He's in his prime. Van Portfleet has got potential, and I think you'll keep him in the squad after the World Cup. But I think he's had so many chances, and I just don't think I see World Cup winner on him. I'd love to be wrong.
It sort of mirrors the Don Brandt decision, doesn't it? with the forwards, it mirrors that. Yeah. Do you know what? I don't argue. I wouldn't stand in your way, and particularly as you're in charge of the backs.
Well, so I don't
Lock it
have
in.
to use my casting vote.
No, lock it in.
Okay. Ben, Alex Mitchell, Quirk, and Ben Spencer, let us know if you think we've made a big mistake by not taking the guy who's had all the minutes so far. Fly half. First question, Tim. Do you take 3 or do you take 2?
I take 3. I do take 3. I think that's the reason why the 33-man squad from 31 is there, because people are having to. I mean, we only took 2 10s last time round.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think that's where one of the extra positions should go.
I'm assuming Owen Farrell is one of your guys.
Yep.
Is he
100%.
going as a fly half / centre or just a fly half?
Well, again, I think with the 33-man squad, he can go as just a 10. But I get berated for saying this. I'm not saying it's what I want to do or what my first choice selection is, but I still think Ford Farrell has merit, and I think it has enough evidence of having worked in the past that it's not something we should completely throw away the idea of. So I take him still as a 10 who might also slot in at 12.
If you want to play a tactical kicking game and you want to, put the ball in position around the park, Ford Farrell certainly has merit. It gives you virtually no running game, but if that's not the game you're playing, then that's not the game you're playing. But anyway, Farrell's playing really well at the moment. He's playing really well at 10. Captain, etc.
And we've got a Premiership final Ford v Farrell this weekend.
Oh, fantastic!
Really
absolutely
interesting.
Fantastic. Are you taking Ford as well then?
Yes,
I think so too.
Well,
and
I was going to say you're in charge of the backs. If it were my choice, yes.
I think now you have 33 men in the squad. I think it's a no-brainer. I think you take Farrell, Ford, and Marcus Smith.
Yeah,
I think it's a no-brainer.
Sorry, just a child interrupting.
Oh, that's all right. What do they think?
I think they went Ford, Farrell, Smith as well.
Okay, or you could go 2. You could go 2 and then take an extra back, or you could say Farrell is covering 12 as well. But it gives you loads of options. Doesn't mean you have to fly out a replacement or anything like that. So that makes sense. Okay, and starting wise, I take it we're not like picking the starting team, but are you saying Farrell starts at 10 in this team? Because that could affect who we pick, obviously, in the centres.
Yes, I think I'm edging that way. Yeah, okay, absolutely.
Unless Ford has an absolute stormer in the Premiership final.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you'd like to think, but particularly, they're all great guys as well. They're all good squad men. It's like there was in the past where Cipriani, for all his talent, you sort of thought, well, he might rock the boat elsewhere. These are all great pros.
These three will get on. They'll get on really well.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Which is important in a long World Cup campaign. Okay. Centre wise, this is tricky. So do you want to take 4 centres or 5 or 3?
I think definitely 4. There's an argument over the 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, name your 5 straight out. Or so your 4 and your extra 5th.
So Ollie Lawrence, Henry Slade. I'm going to say Manu Tuolangi. Just I kind of want to get away from, and I thought by now we might have just been able to find an alternative, but I don't think we have. So Manu Tuolangi is there. If we're going 5, Elliot Daly, Joe Marchant.
Apologies for the car alarm going off. We'll keep going. Sorry, say again. Say those 5 in quick succession there.
If we go 5, it's Lawrence, Tuolangi, Slade, Daly, Marchant.
Okay. I'm 100% say Manu Tuolangi. He's proved his fitness now. I think he's played enough games to say it's always going to be a risk, but it's enough games to say he could make it through a World Cup. I think that was the big question, wasn't it? As an out-and-out 12 now, I think that is pretty much, unarguable. Does Ollie Lawrence go as a 12?
Yes.
Okay,
I think so. But again, you have that if you needed to, if there were injuries, Farrell could step in and Lawrence could step out. So
I'll tell you where I'm at. Manu Tuilagi, yes. Lawrence, yes. Then I wasn't sure about Henry Slade. That is, I know that's a bit of a bombshell there. I'm just not sure he's got that game-breaking ability anymore. I don't know. He gives you passing, he gives you kicking. Does he give you... And he does make errors. He's classy. I do like him. I like a lot of what he does. But would you bet your house on him? Or would you bet your house on him making a break? I just don't know. What's your counter argument?
In terms of pure skill set,
Yeah.
I think he's probably number one in the England squad.
Yeah, no doubt.
All round skill set. I don't know. It's hard to judge. It's hard to judge. I do trust. Yeah, and I trust that when England are playing well, he will be at the heart of it.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being sentimental.
No, it's a tricky one because the other two I had in mind were Joe Marchant, who I think's got a lot to offer, and he offers much more running threat at 13 than Slade, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to take Dan Kelly. I really would. I'd like to see Lawrence as an option at 13, and if you take, I don't know, I can be persuaded, to be honest. I'm not 100% on it.
Yeah, I think Dan Kelly was the injury for him just before the Six Nations was an absolute just a horrible time to get injured. Never a good time, but that was a particularly bad time. And I was in Dublin to watch that quarter final of the Champions Cup, Leicester against Leinster, and you could see Dan Kelly was like, right, this is my opportunity on the big stage. I can prove myself. And I mean, the team didn't. Leinster were just much a better team, but he didn't cover himself in glory on that particular night, and I don't think he's had the opportunity to really.
I think another reason why I'd considered him so much is I think he's a genuine ball playing 12. If Farrell's starting at 10 and you want a ball playing 12, I don't think we have one, and I don't like moving Slade into 12 because I think he's very uncomfortable there. So if you want to buzz that ball around and have Farrell starting at 10, I think he's a real shout. I'm happy to go.
I'm not convinced on that, but hey, okay. You're able to take the reins.
I'm not going to take a veto on that. I don't think it's worth it. So if Lawrence and Tuilagi are 2 12s, then you have 2 13s in Marchant and Slade. It makes sense. And if you wanted to go pure power, I'd love to see Tuilagi and Lawrence as well. That could be good.
Yeah, I mean the other name I mentioned there, which it potentially in a centre, it could open up another spot on the wing, or you may already be thinking of this guy as a winger / fullback, Elliot Daly.
Yeah, I've got him in the back three.
Okay.
Yes, as in the list of the back three.
Yeah, because potentially for me, well, so I think it could be Daly and Marchant, but it could be Daly instead of Marchant or Slade, whichever way around you looked at it.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's leave that 5th spot hanging. Let's go to the back three and see what we've got. Okay, so nailed on in the back three. I'd take Freddie Stewart. I know people aren't 100% on him sometimes, but you can build a game around him. You know 100%. What he's going to give you.
Yeah.
Take him for what he can do, sort of thing. So Freddie Stewart goes. Agreed.
Agreed.
And the other name that's 100% is Anthony Watson.
Yep.
Yeah. Who could be your second 15.
Agreed again.
Okay, but apart from that, it's actually not obvious at all. Give me a name. Who do you want to take as well?
Henry Arundel.
I'm very much wanting to take him, but the question mark is he still doesn't start for London Irish. It's like it's bizarre, isn't it? You're saying this guy could be one of a really good player, but he's not good enough to start for his club. It's a funny one, isn't it?
It is a funny one. It really is.
You're almost taking a specialist sub, which might not be a bad thing.
I don't think that is a bad thing.
Do we have it? I mean, the other guys you could take if you want out and out pace, you've got Caden Murley, you've got Adam Radwan.
Yeah, 100%. Caden Murley, I really like. I really, really like him.
And Murley starts.
Yeah. Yeah. So the three wingers that I had were Watson, Arundel, Murley.
Yeah.
Those were the three. If you were only picking three.
Hmm. And then you'd have Elliot Daly as your kind of utility.
Well, so I've definitely got Daly in my squad, and looking at the numbers, that makes it 3, 6, 10, 14. So Daly could be a winger, he could be a fullback, it could be an outside centre, but I have him in. In my mind, I've mentioned all the names except one, and then you're into the discussion: is it Max Malins? Is it Joe
Mm.
Marchant?
Okay, well, let's. So
Does
we're
one of
locking
those guys
in
nudge someone else out?
Henry Arundel. I think, are we locking him in as a definite game-breaking sub?
Yeah,
Okay, so that means we've got 2 spots left. I'll chuck out some other names here. Joe Carpenter was a complete bolter. If you wanted to take a second 15, specialist 15, who was very different to Freddie Stewart, if you wanted more of a running game as well. Big.
so he's had a great season.
I think he's. And then if you want to take a more skillful 15, you could take Max Malins, but then he plays on the wing a lot.
Yeah, and he's done really well when he's played for England on the wing.
Yeah, and you need a really solid. The thing is, you need a really solid backup 15. I'm not sure we've got one actually.
I know he was almost like a scapegoat in the past, to go back a few years, and people were giving him real stick. Elliot Daly, the first half of the season before he got injured for Saracens, playing fullback, was the best player in the league.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt at club level, Daly tears it up. I am just once bitten, twice shy. He's made,
Yeah.
He's done some things in an England shirt that just make you think, never again. Don't, you can't play him. But then he comes back and he just shows how good he can be. I don't know. Is that unfair? Should he be given that last chance, that last roll of the dice, or has he burnt his bridges too many times?
I think I personally think he's an absolutely class operator. And when you look back to that World Cup final team in 2019, all right, they didn't play great in the World Cup final, but the reason England got to the final, when you look at that back three, they were absolutely rapid.
Yeah, they were. He's class 95% of the time, and 5% or whatever you go, you've got to make that tackle. Okay, let's take him. It's he really gives you flexibility. He can play 13, he can play 15, he can play wing. He's in form, he's experienced, and let's just hope he doesn't have a howler. So you've got 1 spot left. What about Ollie Hassel-Collins?
I've got a lot of time for him.
Do we not need a big wing option? Because we don't have one.
I think that is a role that Elliot Daly could do as well. He's a big unit. He's 16 stone.
He's not a natural. I don't think he naturally likes the contact. He's definitely bulky. He's definitely powerful. Someone like Ollie Hassel-Collins or Tommy Freeman kind of love the smash. They love getting in there. And I'm just worried if we take Murley and Arundel, then we're a little bit lightweight. But
yeah. So if we are agreed on the 14 names so far,
yeah,
and it sounds like you've got a couple of question marks next to some of them, which is fair. You can
Yeah.
veto it by all means. But we're looking at Marchant, Malins, OHC, and potentially 2 of them if you wanted to nudge maybe Daly or Murley out, or
yeah, or you could nudge Marchant out and take Daly as a 13, because you've got Lawrence who's a 13 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take Ollie Hassel-Collins and Caden Murley and not have Marchant and have Elliot Daly.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. It's a real tricky one.
Yeah, like imagine no Marchant, no Malins.
Yeah, and I'll just chuck a couple of names as well. Lots of people have said Thokanasiga's probably, could have a role. If you genuinely want a big guy, he's fit. He's not the quickest, but he is the biggest we have. If you're playing a big team and you want to bring him in off the wing,
I don't know. I look at the world champions and I just think, and I look at the world's two best teams at the moment,
Yeah.
ranked number 1 and 2. Look at those three sides, and they're not concerned with having necessarily massive men. They've just
No.
got really good rugby players with great rugby brains who've got great all-round skill sets and a bit of stardust. And
Yeah.
I don't think we need to. I think that's. I think rugby's moved beyond having a big winger for a big winger's sake.
It's tricky, isn't it? So Ollie Hassel-Collins misses out, you say? Oof.
Not necessarily. So as I have it at the moment, we've got the 6 halfbacks, 3 definite centres, 3 definite centres. Well, the 4 centres that we've picked so far: Lawrence, Tuolangi, Slade, Daly, which leaves 5 spots. Watson, Stewart take 2 of them. Arundel takes another. And then you've got Marchant, Murley, Malins, OHC, and taking 2 from those.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think who misses out? I think it's either Marchant misses out or Ollie Hassel-Collins misses out.
And I suppose, and Malins then.
Oh, I haven't got Malins. Did you want to say
okay,
Malins?
Fine. So Malins also misses out.
But then,
yeah, the one. So it comes down to OHC, Murley, OHC or Marchant. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it would be safer to take Marchant, I would say. I don't think you need that extra winger when you've got Elliot Daly there. So on that basis, it's tough because I don't like not having a power winger.
I love it. He's great, isn't he, Ollie Hassel-Collins? But again, we didn't see it for England. He didn't really get the ball.
No. Okay.
I suppose it puts into stark relief, though, Rich, why these World Cup warm-ups are going to be massive in some positions, because any one of these players can play themselves in or out
absolutely
the World Cup squad.
Elliot Daly, he's got a huge chance, but he has to perform in the warm-ups. If he goes, Hassel-Collins, all these wingers need to perform. Okay, so are we saying Caden Murley is in, Ollie Hassel-Collins misses out, Elliot Daly is in?
Yes, but and are we saying Marchant? Yes.
And Marchant, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, there we are. That was tough.
Oh, we'll change our mind again tomorrow. That's the beauty of this, Rich.
Of course.
Okay, so we'll change our mind when the World Cup warm-ups come around.
Absolutely. Okay, so the full team here, you can see it on the screen there, but I'll go through the backs we picked. We've got Mitchell, Quirk, and Spencer, meaning that Van Portfleet and Ben Youngs miss out. Fly halves, we think that's pretty straightforward. Farrell, Ford, and Marcus Smith. Then it gets tricky. Ollie Lawrence, Marchant, Slade, Tuolangi, and Elliot Daly as potential 5th centre, maybe Farrell covering. And in the back 3, Arundel, Caden Murley, Freddie Stewart, and Watson. So 4 back 3 plus Elliot Daly. There it is. That is our team. So let us know what you think, guys. Where have we made mistakes? Where have we made the right calls? It's going to be interesting. And get in the comments below. Let us know what you think, and get in that vote as well. I'll try and put everyone we talked about and more on that vote. Follow the instructions, and I'll come back with the results and see what you guys come up with. Okay, Tim, any final closing comments?
Just to reiterate what I said, that I'm already getting buyer's remorse. Oh, have I made a mistake? Should I look? Because leaving Ollie Hassel-Collins, how can we do that? So yeah, I'm going to be looking at the comments in your video as much as anything. So yeah, do get stuck in, and nice one for having me again.
No problem. Absolute pleasure. Get in voting, and love to know what you think, and we'll see you next time.